Hey guys, it's Loveless, and it's time for an update on Brittney Griner's plight. This video is in addition to my reading for her published on October 20th, though the actual chart about her situation was made back in July. Here's a quick refresher on the significators from the reading, that is, the planets and what they represent. We'll be referencing an article from ESPN that was published on October 25th.
A Moscow court rejected Brittney Griner's appeal of her 9-year sentence on drug charges Tuesday, a completely anticipated result in a trial that US and international officials have called an illegitimate proceeding.
As mentioned in my reading, I said that Russia doesn't care about Brittney's best interests at all, and rather will be her enemy. The judge in Russian court would be against her.
US officials have said they believe Russia will eventually send the WNBA star home in a prisoner swap, but have expressed frustration over what they say is Russia's failure to respond to the significant offer the United States made in June.
I did mention hope of a prisoner swap in the chart, but based on how Mars, Russia, is in her chart, and a tarot card I pulled inquiring about this, it doesn't look good. The Five of Pentacles appeared, called the Lord of Material Trouble. This card is associated with loss, adversity, rejection, and a negative change in circumstances. America made this offer in June, about 4 months ago, and it sounds like Russia hasn't responded. I mentioned that America would want to move quickly, but Russia won't match this energy. As Mars in Taurus, they will be stubbornly against paperwork from Brittney and paperwork in favor of her.
We are aware of the news out of Russia that Brittney Griner will continue to be wrongfully detained under intolerable circumstances after having to undergo another sham judicial proceeding today, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said in a statement.
As I mentioned, Mars as Russia in this chart, their sense of justice is likely skewed. Jake Sullivan, U.S. National Security Advisor, appears to agree, calling Brittney's day in court a sham judicial proceeding.
Griner took part in the Moscow Regional Court hearing via video conference. In the ruling, the court stated that the time Griner will have to serve in prison will be recalculated with her time in pretrial detention taken into account, meaning Griner will serve about 8 years in prison. The result was not what we expected, Griner's attorneys, Maria Bulgarilina and Alexander Boykov, said via a statement. The verdict contains numerous defects, and we hope that the Court of Appeal would take them into consideration. We still think the punishment is excessive and contradicts to the existing court practice.
Saturn retrograde in Aquarius energy, a long, excessive time in prison. I'm glad they're explaining how Russia has illegitimately detained Brittney. As Mars in Taurus would describe for Russia and Moon in Scorpio for the Russian court, something is off here, something is undignified.
Several officials have said in recent weeks that they believe Russia will not engage seriously in negotiations until after the US midterm elections November the 8th, not wanting to give the Biden administration a political victory.
So Brittney may be a political pawn caught up in politics. I do think Aquarius relates to politics, and Brittney was shown as Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. As Moon in Scorpio would describe as well, Russia appears to be acting vindictive in this case, as US officials believe they don't want Biden to look good through the situation with Brittney Griner. The article goes on to mention how Brittney is concerned where she'll serve her sentence.
Bulgarilina told ESPN last week that it can take weeks or months for a prisoner to be transferred. There is no timetable prescribed by law. Legal experts say Griner is at the whim and mercy of the Russian system, as she has been all along.
Brittney's lawyer is saying they have no idea when she'll be transferred. Russia has total control here, as foretold. Legal experts say, unfortunately for Brittney, she will have to go along with whatever they decide. The article recalls how Brittney was arrested at the Russian airport in February for accidentally having a vape cartridge on her.
US officials declared her to be wrongfully detained in May and began seeking a prisoner swap with Russia for Griner and former US Marine Paul Whelan, who has been held in Russia since December 2018. Officials said the State Department offered to trade Viktor Bout, a convicted arms dealer serving a 25-year sentence in the United States. Bout has been in US custody since 2008. But officials have said Russia has not made a serious counteroffer and has requested the return of a man the United States doesn't have in custody, Vadim Krasikov, who is currently in a German prison on a murder conviction.
Another mention of hope for a prisoner swap. Russia is, just as the chart describes, however, being exceedingly difficult. They're considering a prison swap, but for someone in German prison. I would think this puts more work on America if they'll have to work with a third party. Here is another honorable mention of an update.
Russia has major demand for Brittney Griner negotiations, according to a report from the Associated Press. Russian Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said in a conference call with reporters that Russia would continue talks with the United States about the release of Brittney Griner, as long as those talks were done in secret. We always say that any contacts about possible exchanges can only be conducted in silence under a tight lid on any information, Peskov said, according to the Associated Press.
In the chart about Brittney, do we see this interest in secrecy? Yes, we do. The 12th house, which represents Russia's secrecy, is in Libra, ruled by Venus. Russia is Mars in Taurus. Therefore, Russia in the sign of Venus means a keen interest in secrecy, and in Taurus, a stubborn interest. They won't be changing from this attitude. Well, that's my first update on Brittney post-reading. We'll see how this plays out. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this update.